This is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's episode of the Passion to Profits podcast. Now, today's podcast episode, I want to help you get through failure because you're going to be guaranteed that you are going to have some failures. But how do you spring back from those failures? How do you keep coming back again and again and again? Well, hopefully this podcast episode will allow you to see failure in a new way so that when you do have failures, you will stay committed and you'll come back tomorrow and you'll try again. And you'll give it another go and then keep trying again and again until you get through whatever failures you're going through right now. Now, the first thing I would say to you is that too many of us right now don't want to make mistakes, don't want to have failures. You know, right now we come from the sat-nav generation where we get into a car, we tell the car where we want to get to, and the car 99 times out of 100 will take you right to the doorstep of the place you want to get to. So it tells you all the different towns, the cities, the turnoffs, and we follow this journey and we get to where we want to get to. And I think for a lot of us, we don't want to make mistakes. We want to know that our journey is going to be a success. But the thing is, even having all the knowledge, even maybe following someone who was successful that you would like to copy, you're going to find that your journey is going to be different because you're going to take steps into the unknown. And how people react to you and your work will be different than that other person. You know, maybe there's somebody on TikTok right now and you say to yourself, well, this person on TikTok is really popular. I can see they're building a business from their videos. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to, buy their digital course, study all the videos and copy everything that they do. Now, even copying everything that they do, your journey is going to be different from that person. Because, first of all, you're going to look different. You are going to talk a different way. You're going to have different ideas than that other person had. You mightn't have enough experience, or maybe the same experience that that person had where they started off. So your journey is going to be different. Even though you have the exact same knowledge that they have, your journey is different. And the reason it's different is because you are the new ingredients in the mix. And you have to be aware of that sometimes even having the most, laid out path of how to get from A to a Z, it can still go wrong. And that's because you are the unique ingredient in the mix. So stepping into the unknown, you're going to find sometimes it does work out and sometimes it doesn't. And unfortunately, we have this kind of black and white idea when it comes to success and failure. Either something is a success or it's a total failure. Now, we love the successes, but we hate the failures. But you can also be guaranteed sometimes that when you do have failures, it's not always a failure. Maybe going back to these videos here, you could possibly put a video right now that could take off. It could go viral and you're a success. Or you could upload a video today and it doesn't do well. And it's easy to look at the second time when that video didn't do well and thinking to yourself, well, I'm just a big failure. But what you need to do is you need to look in the ashes of your failure for the things that went right. Maybe the second video you did that failed, you're going to find that there's a lot of good things came from that. You found out that, you are someone who was willing to sit down in front of a camera, record a video and possibly make a fool of yourself. So you're actually building confidence in yourself. You're starting to stretch yourself. You're starting to get outside your comfort zone. You're going to find that even though that second video might have been a failure, again, it's another one you've racked up. So it's more experience you have in front of a camera. And each time you maybe possibly see it as a failure, it's going to be more and more and more experience. And there will be a point then when the success is going to be a lot easier because you have all this experience from the failures. And again, even maybe the topic of your video that was a failure. Well, again, you've learned something from that. You've realized, well, that's not a topic that people want to watch in a video. So even though that video seems on the surface like a failure, you've learned 3 things about it. You've learned more about yourself, that you're willing to stay the course and persevere. You've gained a little bit more knowledge of being on camera, and you've realized that that idea you did was no good. So we're not going to go back to that idea again. So remember that even if you have failures, it's not 100% a failure. You can always look in the ashes of that failure and find something good from it. But too many of us just dismiss it as either black or white. I succeeded or I failed, and let's just look at the failure because it's too painful. But you're going to find when you actually dig into the ashes of that failure, you're going to find some good things that's going to help you on your next attempt. Now, what I'd say to you as well too is if you are having failures, it's easy to ask the people around you for advice. Asking maybe friends and family, well, why do you think this video failed? Why do you think no one was interested in my podcast episode? Why do you think the ebook I spent weeks on, didn't sell? And you're going to find that the people around you are not going to give you the right advice. And what you need to do is when you are looking for advice, you need to look upwards. You need to look at the people who are ahead of you. Because the people who are ahead of you have been where you have been, and they will know how they got through that part. So they can actually give you advice. So the only people you should be asking for advice of, if you are going through failures at the moment, is the people above you. The people who've already walked that path and have got beyond it. But unfortunately, we don't think about that. We just ask our friends, our family. We ask people maybe in a Facebook group or somebody in a forum who possibly hasn't done the thing that we would like to do, or maybe at the same level as us, and we can't really expect them to give us great advice if they are at the same level as we are. We need to look upwards. We need to look at the people up here. So if you are maybe thinking of asking someone for advice, just bear that in mind. Don't ask the people at your level or below you. Always ask the people who are above you. Now you will find maybe that we are afraid of asking these people above us because we feel, well, they're too well known of a name, they're too busy, they wouldn't be interested in someone like me who's a little squirt coming along, and why would they help me? But sometimes you find the people up here are really, really helpful, and we'd be glad to reach down and give you a helping hand because they know what it was like when they were in that position, and they probably would have loved someone to come down there and help them. So you can maybe ask them a odd question and say, this is a situation I'm going through, what do you think? And hopefully they'll be able to get back to you and give you some advice. But as I said, don't look at your own level or below you. Look upward if you're going to get advice of anyone. As well too, when it comes to failure, sometimes you need to be willing to pivot. We need to realize that, something, maybe this isn't suitable for me. Maybe I shouldn't be doing videos. Maybe I should be doing blog posts. Maybe I should be doing maybe shorter form video, maybe on TikTok, rather than putting these videos on YouTube. And you could find sometimes that maybe this pivot could be just what you need. But sometimes a lot of us get kind of locked into this mindset of, I'm going to make this work. I said to myself that I'm going to be a huge star on YouTube and I'm going to stick with YouTube. And so we doggedly stick on with YouTube. Not really realizing that, something, we're probably more tailored to short form content. Or maybe we're not tailored to doing videos at all. Maybe it's just not in our wheelhouse. Maybe we should just look at something else. Or maybe the idea that we have for a passion business is one that we're never going to make money from. So be willing to pivot. Try different things out. Try, creating content in different formats and then see what's more popular. Rather than just making videos, maybe just create a video, write a blog post, maybe do a podcast episode. So at least you can test those three things. And then you can see, well, there seems to be something going on here. I seem to be more popular as a podcaster than I do as a YouTuber or as a blogger. And then what you can do is you can just forget the other two and focus on the thing that's working. So don't kind of stick to a path that you think must work, because sometimes life is going to send you and your business in a different direction. So bear that in mind too as well. What you need to do as well too when it comes to failure is you need to realize it's tough for everyone. Again, when we have failures, we kind of get locked into the idea that we're the only one that's having failures. That we're the only one that's having problems getting our videos up on TikTok and getting them popular. We feel that we're the only one that finds it difficult to record podcast episodes. We're the only one that finds it difficult to sell ebooks or digital courses. We're the only one that finds it difficult to get traffic to our blog. But you can be guaranteed that you are not the only one, because we're all in this situation. We all find things that are tough. So don't think that because you're going through a tough time right now, that you're the only one on the internet. You're not. There are thousands and thousands of us out here. And you're going to find that of those thousands, a lot of people are going to drop out and give up. because it is too tough. Because you can be guaranteed that whatever you're going to do right now is something that most people won't do. Most people will talk about building a business around something that they love. They'll talk about making money. They'll talk about doing videos on TikTok and YouTube and all that. But the majority of people won't actually do it. So the fact that you're actually doing it right now is huge. So bear that in mind. And bear in mind that you're not the only one who is going through problems. You who is coming back again and again and maybe not getting results. We've all been there. And you will find that maybe when you get through this kind of dry phase you're in right now, you'll probably go into another phase and you're going to find it difficult again. And that is because what you're doing right now is wanting you to grow, because you are going to grow, because you do need to grow, because you do need to be a different person to build a business around your passion. If you were good enough right now, well, then you'd have the passion business, you'd have all the cash, you'd have all the following. But right now, you're not the ideal person for that. So that's going to involve growth, and that's going to involve making mistakes, falling on your face, having failures, but it's something we all go through. So you're not the only one. Now, what I'd say to you as well too is that sometimes when we have failures, sometimes when we look at what we do, again, it's very easy for us to give up. You know, when I maybe record a video for TikTok and I get maybe 100 people watching it, it's very easy for me to just say, well, that video was a failure. And I get locked into the idea of the views of the video and see that as a failure. But what you need to do sometimes is you need to forget the result and actually focus on the process. And that means that when you do a video on day 2, again, might only get 100 views, maybe 200 views, but you put another video up 2 days in a row. And then when you come back on day 3, again, you put another video up, maybe you get 300 views this time. Maybe it's not what you're looking for. You're probably looking for thousands of views, but you've done 3 videos. So even though on the surface it looks like those videos weren't successful, but the fact that you turned up on 3 consecutive days is a success. Because as I said, most people won't do that. Most people won't persevere. Most people will give up after the first attempt. So the fact that someone like you has come back on 3 days in a row and recorded a video and put it up there is a success. Now, it mightn't be the success that you picture as success, but there is success there. And sometimes what we need to do is we need to take our attention off the end result and actually come back to our process and congratulate ourselves on what we're doing. That we showed up on Monday and recorded a video, we showed up on Tuesday and recorded a video, we showed up on Wednesday and recorded a video, and we look back on the week and realize, you know something? I have done 7 videos on TikTok. And that should be celebrated. That should motivate you. That should inspire you, because you can't be guaranteed of the end result. You know, you can't be guaranteed that when you put a video on a platform or a podcast episode or write an ebook, you can't be guaranteed that it's going to do well. It could do well or it mightn't do well. And sometimes when we kind of get locked into the end result that it must be successful, and if it's not successful, well then it's a complete failure. But what you need to do is you need to bring your attention back and focus on the process, because that's the only thing you can really control right now. You know, I can't control how many people watch this video. I can't control how many people like this podcast episode. But what I can control is me sitting down here nearly every day and recording these videos and recording this podcast episode. So by the end of the day, I am going to be happy. I'm going to celebrate because today was a success, because I did the work that I needed to do. And I know if I show up again and again and again, there will be a point where I'll break through and then I'll have the success that I'm looking for. So sometimes you need to celebrate your process and see the success in that, even though the results aren't showing up right now. Because you can guarantee that whatever you're looking to do is going to be on the long end of you being consistent. You know, take somebody like Mr. Beast, who is hugely popular on YouTube. And he said one time that, you know, you need to make at least maybe 200, maybe 300 videos before anyone actually pays attention to you. Now, on the surface, you could look at those 300 videos and say, well, this guy is a complete and absolute failure. But what he did was he focused on the process. He knew that he needed to make a long string of videos, each time trying to be a little bit better than the last video, for him to reach this critical point where he'd break through, where people would notice him, where maybe something that he recorded or said went viral, and then it just snowballed from there. But on the outside, on the run up to that success, it's easy to look at those 200 or 300 videos and say, well, this guy is a complete and absolute failure. But what he did was he focused on the process, knowing that what he was going to go into was going to take time. And you need to be aware of that as well too. So sometimes focusing on the process and celebrating that as a success is really a success until the outside, where everybody else kind of finds our videos and listens to a podcast and, reads our blog and then start buying our products. That could be success in the outside world. But in the world we're in right now, I'm going to celebrate the success of me staying with the process that I'm doing. So remember that as well too. Now, again, when it comes to having failures and successes, something that's going to really help you get through any failure you have right now is, again, focusing on your why. Why are you here? Why are you making videos? Why do you want to build a business around your passion? Now, it can be something like, I just want to be rich. I hate the job I have. I want my kids to have a better life. I want to change my car. I want to live in a different area. There's nothing wrong with those goals. Look, money is a great goal to have. So what you need to do is you need to dig deep into that goal of money. What's that money going to do for you? What are you going to do with that cash? And then maybe write down on a piece of paper how your life is going to change, the places you're going to go, the lovely clothes you're going to wear, the car you're going to drive, what you're going to do with the kids. And then keep that close at hand so that when you are going through these tough periods, you'll realize, well, this is the reason why I'm sitting down right now and making these videos. This is why I'm recording this podcast. This is why I want this ebook to sell well. And when it doesn't, you just go back to your list, you'll realize why you're doing it, and then you'll come back tomorrow and you'll try it again. Because you're not going to get very, very far if you haven't got a strong why. And as I said here many times, your why is the rocket fuel that's going to keep you going. And the stronger the why you have, the more it's going to motivate you to come back and keep pushing through the tough periods. Again, going back to failures, celebrating your successes. We sometimes spend so much time focusing on our failures that we forget our successes. I'm, hand on heart, I'm one of those people. I am constantly looking forward, and I should take more time to stop and look back and realize, well, maybe the video didn't do well today, but there last week, I recorded a video and it was seen by 1,000 people. Or the other day, maybe no one listened to this podcast episode I recorded today, but 3 weeks back there was a podcast episode that went viral and 600 or 700 people listened to it. So when I take my eyes off where I am right now and focus back on the successes I have, again, it's going to make me feel good. It's going to motivate me to keep going. But unfortunately, sometimes you spend so much time looking in front of us, we don't celebrate what happened behind us. And sometimes you need to do that. So be aware of that, that even though you could be going through a failure right now and you're thinking to yourself, well, I've always been a failure. This has always been hard. That's not true. When you stop and look behind you, you're going to have moments of successes. Or even maybe somebody just left a nice comment below your video where they said, thank you for recording this video. You made a big difference in my life. I liked what you talked about. Or maybe somebody gives you a nice review of your ebook or something like that. It's very easy to kind of lose focus of those things and forget those things. And sometimes maybe if we had maybe a little notebook where we write down all those great moments, what you can do is on your low days, just open up the notebook and then read about all your successes. All the lives you've changed, the people's testimonials, the times when something went viral or something took off. And again, that will really, really help you. And it'll get your attention off your failure right now. And what I'd say to you as well too, finally, is that if you want to be successful, you have to keep going. Whatever you're doing right now, hopefully, maybe building a business around your passion, doing something you want to love, it's going to take a while. And if you give up right now, it's never going to happen. If I want these videos to do well on YouTube and TikTok, and if I want this podcast to do well, if I give up today, there's going to be no more videos. There's going to be no more podcast episodes. And there's absolutely no hope that I am going to get to where I want to get to if I give up. So even though it is tough right now, and even though you might be going through some failures, and even though you just want to throw in the towel, if you quit, it's game over. You can't get the results that you're looking to get if you drop out of the game. Yes, I know it's hard to come back tomorrow and try again and maybe have another failure and maybe the next day and the next day, but you need to stay in the game if you're going to get to where you're going to get to. So hopefully this podcast episode was helpful because, as I said, the journey that you're on is stepping into the unknown. Not everything's going to work out, and we need to see our failures that way. We need to see the positive things in them. We need to realize that everybody is going through failures. We need to realize that sometimes you need to go through a long string of failures before you be successful. So hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. If you did, if you'd like to leave a comment or a review below this, I would really love to read your thoughts. And if you would like to know how you can actually turn your passion into a business, what I've got a great report which is called 10 Proven Ways to Make Money from Your Skills. So if you have a skill right now that you love doing and you'd love to make money from it, go to the show notes right now, click on the link, get over there and pick up the free report. So as always, have a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.